Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I hope you are having a fantastic day so far. I hope today's been treating you well. In today's video, as you can see from the title down below, I'm going to be unboxing, swatching and creating an eye look for the new Beauty Bay Smoky eyeshadow palette. Now obviously it's me, so I got the 42 pan, but this colour story does also come in a 9 and a 16 pan option if you're wanting something a little bit smaller, a little bit more travel friendly. I don't travel anywhere. Every single day I get ready right here, so I really enjoy having the 42 pan. I also massively get the fear of missing out when it comes to these eyeshadow palettes. If there is one single shade that I like the look of and it's not in the 16 pan but it is in the 42, I'm going to convince myself that I absolutely need both, so I really may as well just start out getting the 42 pan. So if you are new here, hello, my name is Millie. I don't always sound like this, I've got a cold, and I post 3 times a week on a Monday, a Wednesday and a Friday. Every single Beauty Bay release gets reviewed on my channel. I am always talking about affordable makeup and I'm always talking about cruelty-free makeup, so if that's the sort of content that you are into, I would love it if you would subscribe down below. I promise in my next video I won't have a cold, but let's just dive on into the eyeshadow palette, shall we? So as always, these palettes come so well packaged, and I'm seeing in real time this palette. Ooh, she's darker than I was expecting. I mean, I know it's the Smoky palette, but she is beautiful. Okay, let me hold her up. So, I do use lights. I do have studio lights either side and also a ring light in front of me, but I do believe that my camera does capture colours fairly accurately. I mean, looking at the viewfinder now, I do feel like these are showing up as they look in real life. I do feel like some of the pictures that I saw of this palette on the Beauty Bay website and also from other people who've been talking about it over the last couple of days, I do feel like sometimes the colours can look completely different. In some pictures that I saw online, this looked really blue, and there are definitely hints of blue, but there's also definitely some areas that are quite brown, and then there's some that are quite cream, so there's definitely greys. That goes without saying, but I do feel like it's not just like one level, like there's different undertones. I really like the look of it. There's definitely some shimmers that are like catching my eye. So what I'm going to do is I am going to swatch every single shade with you so that you can see how they actually apply on first swipe, and then I'm going to come back after I've done a second layer, because I do feel like seeing how they apply on the first swipe and then seeing how they build up is quite useful information to have. So let me roll my sleeve up and we can do some swatches. So we have got snow, clouds and castle, magnet, graphite and marble, stormy, dove and steps, shadow, elephant and sketch, iron, cabin and frost, magic, wings and palace, river, glass and mask. Then we have starfall, seltzer and dreams, fairy, nightclub and wish, sword, library and thunder, suede, wolf and nightmare, highway, mountain and void, north, tuxedo and rock pool, And then the last three are Cauldron, Onyx, and Tuxedo. So that is all of the shades swatched out. Now obviously it's quite difficult. I can like twist my wrist, but trying to get these ones down at this end to catch the light in a slightly different way, like there's only so many ways that my arm can twist. However, some of them are definitely catching my eye. Like these shimmers, some of them almost feel cushiony, like they're so densely packed that they feel almost like a cream, but they're not. They're all powders. I mean, some of these mattes honestly would have just gone on for days swatching them. So this is everything just with one swatch. I am going to go off, I am going to layer these up, put a second coat over every single one of these so that we can see how much they're going to build up, and basically just make the swatches a little bit neater because I know I'm not very neat. So let me go off and do that, and then I will show you what these are all looking like with 2 layers on. So this is everything with 2 layers over each and every swatch. I can say straight off the bat that this is the same formula that we all know and love from Beauty Bay. The mattes are so pigmented. Honestly, some of these, like really dark shades, would have carried on swatching. There's a few shades that are more like toppers, but for the most part the shimmers are the shimmer formula rather than the topper formula, which I love. We love to see a beautiful metallic shimmer. I absolutely love the Beauty Bay formula, and I really like the colour choice that they have chosen here, because like you can see some of these are like properly brown. Like that wouldn't be out of place in like the neutral palette, but some of them are leaning more blue. Like there is a variety in the grey tones. So you are already zoomed in. I already have my eyeshadow primer on, which of course is the Beauty Bay one, and I did already do my brows, so I'm wearing the Catrice brow pencil with the new collection brow gel. Let's just get started, shall we? I'm also going to be using Beauty Bay eyeshadow brushes because I love them. So I think what I want to do today is have quite a dark outer corner, quite a dark inner corner, and do sort of like a spotlight halo sort of a thing. So I'm just going in with a fluffy brush, and I'm going to go in with Elephant, which I'm going to try and like hold the palette up and actually show you which shade I'm using, but it's not the easiest thing to do. I'm going to start with this shade here, so sort of just a mid-grey, and that's a matte shade. And I'm just going to very lightly wiggle that through my crease. So then I'm just going to be brave. I'm going to take a dense sort of flat brush, and I'm going to dip straight into what I want to be my darkest shade so that I can get that darker colour packed on the outer and the inner corner. And I'm thinking I want to go down more of like the blues rather than the browns. So I'm going to go into Nightmare here, which again is a matte, and I'm packing that onto the brush. Obviously I haven't done like the rest of my face, so I'm not necessarily worried about fallout or anything like that. Just noticed a little bit where I haven't blended that Elephant shade very well, so just go back over that a little bit. And I'm just going to take that dense brush, I'm going to get my little handheld mirror so that I can get incredibly close to it, and I'm going to pack this on the outer corner. Obviously that eye primer is still very much tacky down here, so packing that on the outer corner and also right onto the inner corner, but I'm not taking it like any higher than my crease. So then once I've got that colour like packed on basically where I want it, and I haven't blended this a single little bit, I'm taking a clean brush. This is stained, it is clean, it doesn't have any more colour on it, and I'm just going to tap over the edges of this, which will like naturally create that blend but without adding any more colour. So then once I have blended out that Nightmare shade, I am just going back in to really intensify it right on the very outer corner and on the inner corner. Now I will say, if you notice this, have I mentioned I've got a cold? If you can't tell, I've got a cold, my eyes keep watering, so it is like, that's not the eyeshadow, it's me falling apart. So ignore that if you can, but how intense and dark is that colour? And that's not even the darkest colour. It's blending out really nicely. It's actually almost blending out a little bit purpley, like you can see sort of around the edges. It is going a little bit almost like lilac-y. It's a beautiful, beautiful shade, and like I say, it's got that like richness of like the dark blue rather than it just being a straight black. So I am going to go back in with that first brush that I used, and I'm trying to think, like, I want to lay down a colour. No, I'm going to take a smaller brush than this actually. Use your head, Millie. So I'm trying to think, like, I want a really bright shimmer like down the centre, so I think I'm going to go in with, what am I going to go in with? Oh, there's too much choice. I'm going to go in with Shadow, which is this one here. So used Elephant first, then Nightmare, and now I'm going to go in with Shadow, and I'm just going to take that on a smaller brush and tap it off so I don't get too much, and almost use that to blend inwards, like across the lid. I'm not taking this high up, I just want this across the lid. Honestly, if this eye could stop watering, I think it would make my life so much easier. That is really causing me some trouble, but that Shadow shade has really made that like blend in really, really nicely. So I'm just going to choose a shimmer now and be done. So obviously we could do something more creamy, like one of these ones. Thinking something maybe a little bit icier, maybe this one. Now I need to figure out which shade that is. So that shade Frost. So I'm just going to take a little bit of that. I am covered in eyeshadow now. I'm just going to take, I don't know why I did it on that finger, I'm going to take a little bit of Frost, and I'm going to pack that down this centre area here. Oh, Frosty, she certainly is. That is so bright. We love her. So then once I've got that colour laid down, I'll just go back over with that brush that I used for that shadow shade that was almost like my blending across the lid shade, and I'll just tap over the edges of that. I don't want to disrupt it too much, but I do just want to make sure it's blending in with that shadow so that it's not like a straight up and down line. We do want it to be somewhat blended. So I just want a tiny little bit sort of more of a highlight, so I'm going to go in with Seltzer, which does just look the tiniest little bit sort of whiter. I'm just going to tap that right over the very centre just to give it a little bit more, so you can see without Seltzer and with it, it just adds a little bit more. Then I'm just going to spend a little minute making sure all of this is blended. So I'm just adding a little bit more shadow just right to the edges where that shimmer meets the mattes, just so that there isn't any areas that are possibly like unblended, anything like that. I'm just going to make sure everything is really seamless at this stage. So I am really happy with how that has turned out. So I am going to clean this up now. I'm gonna make it look a little bit less messy. I know that that's like probably the vibe that a lot of people will go for. I don't really, it's not that I don't like them, I just don't like them on myself. They're like really grungy, messy looks. Like, my hair is a little bit undone. That is about as messy as you're going to get from me. So just taking some micellar water, this is the e.l.f. one, on a cotton pad, and I'm just going to clean up that outer corner a little bit, and just in case there's any fallout, I mean, I don't actually think I can see any, but just in case, I'm just going to wipe underneath my eye as well. I also want to get rid of that tiny little bit right on the bottom of the inner corner, because that's going to annoy me. And then again, once I have cleaned that up, I'm just deepening it a little bit more, just going backwards and forwards, deepening it up, blending it out, seeing what I want. I think I'm happy at this stage, apart from this little bit on the inner corner of this eye. Honestly, I'm just ignoring it now, so I am going to go off. I'm going to do a wing, because it's me. I'm going to do a wing. I'm going to do mascara. I'm going to do the rest of my face, and then we can come back and do something lovely and smoky under the eyes. How about that? Okay, so that is the rest of the face done. I used the Sleek In Your Tone foundation, the Sleek In Your Tone concealer. The powder bronzer is the one from my Project Pan, which isn't cruelty free. The blush is one that I don't think I've actually used before. It's the MUA Blushed in Dusky Rose, because I thought something a little bit more cool toned would be nice. The highlight is the Beauty Bay Powder Highlight in Beam. And Beam it is. The eyeliner is 17 Tattoo Legend eyeliner, and the mascara is the Beauty Bay one. Under normal circumstances, with like this amount of glam, I would normally do lashes, but due to the fact, I know I haven't like mentioned it much, but due to the fact that I have a cold, I'm not doing lashes, because I'm immediately taking all of this off, going downstairs and eating my body weight in pizza. So that's where we're at with that, and I am just going to take that dense brush and I'm going to dip into shadow, this shade here. So we've already used this one on the lid. I'm going to dip right onto the end of quite a dense brush with that shade, and I'm going to run that along the lower lash line. And then I'm also just going to take the same brush and the tiniest little bit of that Nightmare shade, that darkest almost blue that we got on the outer and inner corner, and I'm just going to stamp that right on the outer corner just to join it up with like what we've got on the lid. And again, smoke that out quite a bit too. I actually give up blending on this eye now, but I think I'm done. I just want a little bit more mascara on the top lashes and also some on the bottom lashes as well, and then I think we're done. So that is the eyes done with the mascara on the lower lashes, but I completely forgot about my inner corner highlight. It's a staple. I cannot go a day without a blinding inner corner highlight, so I'm just going to take that Seltzer shade on a really dense brush, and I want that just right on the very inner corner. I don't want this to overtake like the darkness that we've got on the inner corner there. Oh, this could be a mistake on my leaky eye. Now I think that that has just finished that off nicely, so I'm just running that like along the bottom edge of the waterline, and I'm just going to go with a little bit of that matte white, which is called Snow, again just to brighten it right up. And that is the finished look. I am completely done, so I will get a little bit closer and just show you this eye close up, because this is the eye that has blended well. So you've got a lot of depth, you've got a lot of obviously very smoky colours. They've blended so beautifully, as long as you don't have a leaky eye. They blend amazingly. Obviously the shimmers are so reflective. It is the formula that we all know and love from Beauty Bay, just in a cool toned installment. So let me know down below, have you picked up this eyeshadow palette? Are you going to pick up this eyeshadow palette? I would absolutely love to know. And I would also love to know if you decide to go for the 9, the 16 or the £42. How do you feel about the different offerings in the same colour story? Are you like me where you feel like you just have to get the 42 because then you've got all of the colours, or are you okay with missing out with some and just getting like the better ones, not having so many repeats? Because I will say, obviously there's only so many shades of grey. Obviously there's only so many. You know what, I feel like they missed a trick there not doing 50. There's only so many shades. There's only so many different undertones. So obviously some of them are quite close. I mean, they're all quite close because they're all grey, but some of them are very, very similar to each other. That's just the way that it's going to go. Do you feel like you get the value out of a £42, or do you prefer the smaller ones? I would absolutely love to know. If you want to see any of my other Beauty Bay reviews, I do actually have a whole playlist just for Beauty Bay eyeshadow palettes, reviewing all of their new releases. I get them all on this channel. I've got a whole playlist. I think it's probably got about 50 videos on it now, so I will leave that linked up in the cards and also in the description box. You will also find links to everything that I have used today in the description box. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. That really just helped me out so much. But until next time, thank you ever so much for joining me on this journey today. Bye.